Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy's while, sir. Alright, for this episode, I'm going to do a couple songs out of this collection called Songs of the Newfoundland Outports. And these are songs that were collected by a guy named Kenneth Peacock, who came down here mostly in the 60s, I think. And this one is one that he collected up near where I'm from in Parsons Pond, from Mrs. Charlotte Decker in 1959, the Bonny Busk of London. There were two sisters, Jane and Mary Ann. I went a gay and a gandy. They both were loved by one young man, down by the bonny Busk of London. The oldest was loving gay gold rings. I went a gay and a gandy. And the youngest was loved above all things, down by the bonny Busk of London. The oldest said to the youngest one day, I went a gay and a gandy. Let us go and see our father's ship sail away, down by the bonny Busk of London. So they both went out so light and gay, I went a gay and a gandy, to see their father's ship sail away, down by the bonny Busk of London. The youngest one put her foot upon a stone, I went a gay and a gandy. And the oldest one she shoved her in, down by the bonny Busk of London. The miller with his fishing pan, I went a gay and a gandy. He brought this lady all on dry land, down by the bonny Busk of London. He kissed her face, he kissed her hair, I went a gay and a gandy. He kissed her lips so red and fair, down by the bonny Busk of London. He said, my dear, it's you I love, I went a gay and a gandy. More than the riches in heaven above, down by the bonny Busk of London. She said, young man, I love you more, I went a gay and a gandy, than all of the gold in England's store, down by the bonny Busk of London. He said, my gold is 10 times more, I went a gay and a gandy, than all of the gold in England's store, down by the bonny Busk of London. He said, my riches are all thine, I went a gay and a gandy. If you will be a bride of mine, down by the bonny Busk of London. She said, your riches great may be, I went a gay and a gandy. But all I do crave is your fair body, down by the bonny Busk of London. He mounted her on his milk-white steed, I went a gay and a gandy, and away to his castle with all speed, down by the bonny Busk of London. He dressed her up in silk so gay, I went a gay and a gandy, all married to be that very day, down by the bonny Busk of London. You could not see her beautiful face, I went a gay and a gandy, for it was covered all o'er in lace, down by the bonny Busk of London. You could not see her yellow hair, I went a gay and a gandy, for the lumps of gold were lying there, down by the bonny Busk of London. So that one, I don't know if I got the same tune as Charlotte sang. I learned that from an album called The Color of Amber by Anita Best and Pamela Morgan. And the words that they used were pretty much the same, but a few, they probably left out a few verses. Or the person that they heard singing it didn't sing those verses. So I'm going to go back to this because I actually don't know Charlotte's tune, and I don't know if it's the same one, but I'll revisit that because I notice it says here that the last two lines, when Charlotte sang it, she would repeat those. And so I've never heard it that way. So I'll probably give that another go. I was just looking for the words so I could get through the song because it's the day I got to make my video and, well, I got to get it done. Alright, I'll try this one that was collected in 1962 from Tom Morey of Fairyland. And I know this one from singing it, at least the chorus of it, many times with Jim Payne, Fergus O'Byrne, Jerry Strong, and Corey Clark in the group A Crowd of Bold Chairmen. So I'll give the verses a try here now, see if I can get through them. Sure, when we took 'em to the wharf, we got $6.50. When we took 'em to the store, we got $1 more, sir. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. We wrote a letter the next day, and we posted it without delay. Sent it off to Jimmy Baird for a couple of gallons of rum, sir. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. On Saturday evening you can see a couple of gallons they came to we. We took 'em down without being seen as far as Georgie Wall, sir. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. Now Saturday evening after tea, a few of the girls they came to we. An elegant time was had by all till early in the morning. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. A little disturbance then arose when everyone was picking their bows. When everyone had picked his own, John Burke he had ne'er won. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. Jack Burke goes up to Jim McGee, now what's she doing along with she? She used to go along with me, and she'll do the same this morning. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. So Jack and Jim got in a clinch, and ne'er of them would budge an inch. When the clinch broke up, they found the lady she'd a gone, sir. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. Now all young men take listen to this, and never go fighting about a miss. All you'll do is to start a big row, and the lady she'll be gone, sir. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel, aboard a vessel. Be a much of a hand aboard a vessel, pelting a puppy swile, sir. Well, that's this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, subscribe, and all that if you want to support the channel. And you can also check out patreon.com/newfoundtunes if you want to join on Patreon there. Get the monthly Patreon podcast. I'll see you in the next one.